business community in the country is very confident on the growth prospects of their businesses over the next 3 years, believing that the Duterte administration could hit 6 to 7% gross domestic product growth. Businesses are more confident about prospects for the October to December period on expectations of higher sales amid Christmas holidays. Join us today as we discuss the new administration's tax reform package with two of the country's business organizations, the Employers Confederation of the Philippines and the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I am Dr. Victor B. Endriga, and this is Tax TV, a taxpayer's guide to Philippine taxation. In our previous episodes, we presented to you the proposed tax reform program of the Duterte administration, which they have submitted to the Ways and Means Committee of the Philippine Senate and the House of Representatives for enactment into a law. In today's episode, it is the private sector's turn to voice out their support on the tax reform program. Business leaders in the country are bullish on the long-term growth prospects of their businesses. Based on this year's Philippine Business Leaders Survey, 75% of the CEOs said they were positive about the opportunities and potentials for their businesses in the next 6 years. Overall confidence in the Duterte administration was much higher now, believing that the government could hit 6 to 7% gross domestic product growth. The high confidence in the economy can be attributed to the plans of the Duterte administration of high infrastructure spending, stability of business environment, leveling of the playing field, peace and order, and inclusive growth. Unifying employers to a common ideal of national prosperity amidst industrial peace, ECOP takes the lead in consolidating and articulating the employer's interests in matters concerning labor management relations and other socio-economic development. ECOP formulates and recommends policy proposals on all issues affecting labor management relations, as well as other social and economic policy questions before government agencies and tripartite councils in regional, national, and international conferences. We have invited the President of ECOP, Mr. Donald D., to discuss with us their support on the economic agenda of the Duterte presidency. Mr. Donald D. is a prominent and well-respected figure in the trade and industry sector. He has held positions in both public and private sectors, where he contributed towards the development of local and international trade. Currently, he is the honorary chairman and COO of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. As a business figure, he sits as president of Phoenix Resources and Management Corporation, president of the Pan Pacific Airways, and former commissioner of the Social Security System from 2001 to 2010. Also, he is a former director of the Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company. Tax TV, a taxpayer's guide to Philippine taxation, We'll be right back. Sir, as far as labor and management is concerned, ECOP is of course the leading organization. Now, what could you say about youth advocacy?
Well, right now, I'm telling you, hirap na hirap kami. We're having a lot of difficulty trying to convince certain people in the Department of Labor as to how to handle the situation. As you know, si Presidente Duterte has made a statement na dapat isukpo itong 555 and which we fully agree. Sabi na, that's against the law. We want it. However, how do we now transition? Dapat malinaw eh. So I've been saying, let's talk about this. Well, the department has through the whole discussion dun sa tripartite industrial council, walang katapusan yan. Pag ginanon mo, there must be a fixed policy direction. In the meantime, all I'm asking is, just assure us that the present provision in the labor code and in 18-A department order stays. So that we know how to transition. Yung mga nagfa-555 na member namin, we will transition them.
Right now, under the Duterte administration, of course, companies are trying whether to attract the foreign direct investment. Do you think with the new administration, it could attract by lowering the income tax and the individual and corporate income tax?
You know, Ma'am Vic, in the last 60 days, the application for investment by the Board of Investment has more than doubled. So, talaga makikita mo, the Philippines is front and center in the minds of the investor. However, because of recent events, like what happened in Davao, and also recent pronouncement na sinasabi ng Department of Labor, i-review ang wages, papalitan ng policy, medyo nakakaroon ng wait and see. Ang ginagawa namin is we go to the department and we say, boss, okay, lahat yung mga pinagsasabi natin but let's make a decision. Huwag po yung ganun dati na teka-teka. Pag daldal tayo ng daldal, in the meantime, everybody is naka-wait and see.
So, right now, the Philippines is lagging behind in terms of foreign investment and also with regards to balance of trade. The balance of trade, of course, the export and the import. Our imports are always bigger than our export, and even Vietnam is already ahead of us in terms of export. So, how do you try to bring up and increase our export sales?
I think that ang dapat gawin po is we should really focus on improving our logistics cost, improving our cost of doing business, improving our infrastructure, improving our cost of energy. Unless we do all of this, we cannot make our industry competitive. Pero nakikita naman po nyo, because although we are now an import-oriented country, our inflation rate is below 2%. So, nakikita nyo, ang bilihin po, napaka-stable ang presyo. That's the upside. Dahil po, ang economy natin is really supported by consumer consumption. Yung pasok po ng mga OFW money at saka yung mga BPO money. Our export this year is down 15%.
It's really down because and usually the four countries, which is Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, more or less we are on equal footing before. But right now, even Vietnam has already overtaken us.
At the moment po, we're doing better than them. At the moment.
So at the moment.
So, kailangan po ituloy-tuloy natin ito. Kaya nga, ito mga disruption sa environment po, nagre-react po kami. Yung
especially mining.
Yung mga pinapalitan ng policy sa mining, sinasabi ng Secretary of Environment, basta ako, ayaw ko ng mining. Ayaw ko ito, kaya tapos, wala tayong pag-uusapan. Hindi ko ganun
And they invested billions of dollars here just to put up, especially in the gold industry.
We have to be careful with what we say. And we have to assure the investors that we are stable as far as policy environment is concerned. We have full control of the economy. And there's no reason why the Philippines cannot continue to grow.
How about, since we will be lowering our corporate income tax from 30 to 25, what do you think? Would there be an effect on our credit rating?
As far as reducing the income tax po, we have to reduce it in order to be in the same level as the other ASEAN countries.
Yeah, Asian countries.
They are all moving from 25 going even down to 20.
Yeah, now 20 to 22. The average
That's
right now
right.
is around 20, 22,
That's
23,
right po.
like that.
Yes. And so we have to be on the same level playing field. So now you ask me, is it going to affect our
Credit
our
rating?
credit rating? I think that that's why it's not so easy po na pag-usapan natin
Yeah.
yung adjustment. Dahil gusto namin ibaba. Pero yung ibang mga like VAT and other taxes, itataas naman nila.
Yeah.
So it's not really 100%.
So more or less, it would still be balanced.
It will still be
at
balanced.
the end of the day.
So in fact, right now, we're constantly meeting in the PCCI,
Yeah.
ECOP, and Relax, but we're trying to evolve a proposal. It's not so easy, but we will try to do it.
Yeah.
But definitely, we have to reduce the income
So
tax.
if it would be more competitive, around how much would the corporate income tax for as far as the ECOP is concerned?
As far as a first step, 25% is really a good target.
So 25 is already okay? Or
It's a good target, yes.
Yeah,
for now,
as a
for
start
now.
for now.
Yes, and bring it down over the next 2-3 years. But we only bring it down if we see that the economy, the economic pie is expanding.
It should really be fixed,
Oo.
especially usually here in the Philippines when there's a new change of administration, the policy also changes.
Yes. Yun
Very
ang masama.
abruptly, and investors are afraid to come in right away.
Exactly. That's what is, yun ang isa sa pinakamalaking impact. Bakit po hindi tuloy-tuloy ang ating investments, whether local or foreign?
Yeah.
It's because the policy change every 6 years. It's okay kung papasok sila, babaguhin nila immediately. At least may stability
Yeah.
for 6 months. What if you had an administration like before, who just kept on talking and talking?
Yeah.
For 6 months, 6 years, nakaupo ka rito, ano magagawin talaga nyo?
How about the increasing from 12 to 15, the VAT? Are you in favor of that also?
No, because 12 is already very high. It's the highest
So
in the region.
ultimately, it would affect the poorest of the poor.
That's right. So what you do is you reduce the exemption.
Yeah, exemptions.
Yeah. Kasi po, if you look, yung mga ibang kumpanya rin na nagbabahid ng 5% gross, they're
Yeah.
only paying 8 pesos per 100 peso earning. When the standard is over 20.
Yeah.
So you have to see na when you reduce the income tax, you also have to adjust the structure of the income tax.
Because there's also one proposal to lower the estate tax.
That is a good approach. Although, kasi, as of now, ang liit ng collection natin sa estate tax.
Yeah, almost zero. Because
Yes.
nobody would like to transfer their properties
Correct.
from their parents or grandparents and all over.
That's right.
Because of the 20%.
Correct.
Now, if it would be reduced as same as the capital gains tax to 6%,
6-7%. Okay, yeah.
or 7%,
That's
or
a good
7.5%, because the doc stamp is 1.5%, so total of 7.5%. Maybe they would already transfer
Opo,
their
dahil,
properties.
You're in public finance, na walang ibig sabihin mas simple arithmetic, 7 times 0 is 0.
Yeah.
So 20 times 0 is also 0. So they have to learn. Ang trick here is how do you increase that economic pie so that the taxes will come in.
So it's still doable, meaning to say, because most of the income are coming from corporate income tax.
Correct.
The bulk is really coming from the corporate income tax.
Yes.
Now, since the replacement is really very hard, you try to look for other sources to replace what was lost.
Your only chance is VAT. Sin tax.
Sin taxes is okay.
I don't care.
Yeah, because
you want to
you
smoke,
don't smoke.
No, if they want to smoke, they smoke, but you pay for it. You want to drink.
If you want to drink, pay for it.
Pero yung sinasabi na soft drinks, medyo pag-aralan natin mabuti.
Yeah.
Because soft drink, iba yun. That is really masa consumption.
Yeah, masa talaga.
Hindi mo
Yeah. How about the junk foods also? I think there's also a proposal to tax the
That's
junk
also,
foods.
alam mo, you cannot just do, there are prices that are be competitive eh. Itataas po dito yan. Ang gagawin nila, mag-i-import sila.
Yeah.
Diba?
Especially now, we have an open market.
It's an open market. No?
So anything could be brought in.
That's right. And then, so you will say, sige, mag-import kayo, but we will charge you VAT. Yes, you will charge them VAT, but they will undervalue. They will underdeclare. Smuggling naman ang problema mo.
Yeah.
Hindi tayo matatapos dito eh. Kasi ang smuggling ngayon is not about duties eh. It's about VAT eh.
Because of the VAT, that's why they are trying to smuggle goods so that they won't pay any more taxes.
Yes, they will hide bababaan nila yung presyo para bumaba yung 12%. Yung absolute amount. Yung VAT, kasi yung duty po, 0 to 3% na lang yun eh. So, those are the things that we have to understand in the day-to-day operation.
And there's also a proposal to remove the VAT from senior citizens and persons with disability. What's your comment on this?
Alam mo po, senior citizens, sa totoo lang, we consume very little. The older we get, the less we consume.
The more is needed, especially medicines.
Yeah, but the consumption is in the medicine. So again, you look now at how are you going to give to them in selective products, not across the board. Why will you give them VAT exemptions if they go fine dining? If they can afford to go fine dining, you pay.
Yeah, especially by fine dining. You go to five-star hotel and then you'll get for...
because you're senior citizen.
Because you are a senior citizen. So we have to really to balance.
We have to balance. But we can collect.
PCCI is the voice of Philippine business, recognized by government and international institutions. As a proactive catalyst of development, PCCI promotes and supports the drive for globally competitive Philippine enterprises in partnership with government, local chambers, and other business organizations. The main responsibility of PCCI is to provide focused advocacy for business growth and sustainable development by providing business services for the advancement of grassroots entrepreneurship, chamber development, international trade relations, business innovations and excellence, and operating efficiency. We have invited Attorney Benedicta Du Baladad, Director of PCCI and Chairperson of the PCCI Tax Committee, to discuss with us their support on the economic agenda of the Duterte presidency. She is also the managing partner and CEO of the Du Baladad and Associates. Ma'am, what's the advocacy of PCCI?
Well, when we ask our members about their problems on taxes, they would always say that our tax system is very complicated, it's difficult to comply, it's costly to comply. So based on this, our advocacy is to have a tax system that should be very simplified. And I'm looking now at the tax reform that is being presented by the government, at least the initial ones. It's all about reduction of rates and all these things, but I don't see any feature, a concrete feature that would make our tax system simplified.
Yeah, simplified. Ma'am, are you in favor of the Duterte administration proposing a reduction of the corporate income tax?
Definitely. In fact, I think that the 25% being talked about is still high. If we look at the tax rates in the region, even with the 25%, will still remain to be one of the highest.
Right now, we're the highest in the ASEAN
right now,
region.
At 30%, we are the highest. Now, if we reduce to 25%, we are the same with Indonesia and Myanmar. But Indonesia will soon, I think they have plans to reduce it also to 17.8%.
Wow.
Now, I think that in the region, there will be a tax competition, and it's already showing. For example, beginning January 2016, which is the start of the ASEAN Economic Community, 2 countries already reduced their taxes. One is Vietnam, from 22% to 20%. And another one is Malaysia, from 25% to 24%. And 4 countries now are on the 20%. Vietnam, for one, which reduced recently. Thailand, Brunei, and Cambodia are 20%. So in short, the average right now is 22%.
So it's still high.
It's still high. But my thinking is that with the tax competition of this Asian Economic Community, I think it will all settle to 20%.
How about the VAT? Are you in favor of the increasing it from 12 to 15?
No? The 12%, with 12%, we are already the highest in the region again. I think they should go first on studying and removing the exemptions because we have so many exemptions. And you know, in a VAT system, the beauty there is that it provides the audit trail in the whole chain of supply chain.
Yeah.
So that if there are exemptions in between, then it breaks the chain for the audit trail. And that would make it very difficult for the BIR to be looking at the leakages, tracking where the loophole is.
How about the estate tax? There's also a proposal to reduce it.
In
from
fact,
20
that
to
should
6.
be reduced. That should not only be reduced, that should be removed.
Removed.
In other countries, many already removed their estate taxes. The reason being that when you earn this income,
it is already paid.
it's already paid. The income that you use to buy those assets are already paid. And then when these are transferred again, you also pay the taxes. Now that you are transferring to your heirs, not because of your own liking, but it's by operation of law because you're dead now. So why would you tax again? I mean,
So really, there's really a need maybe to rid of those kinds of taxes because right now, nobody would like to transfer those properties. Maybe 7 or maybe 4 or 5 generations before, still in the name of those persons who already died.
It's not because they don't want to transfer, but it's because the tax is so heavy. And you know, Filipinos, most of our assets are in hard assets. It's not in liquid assets. So that where would you get now the money to pay for the tax? Because you cannot also sell your property unless you pay the tax. So that's
now, we just talked to Congressman Kimbo, and he is proposing a tax amnesty. What's your say on this?
Oh, that's a good news. That's good news.
Online.
That's good news.
Not only on the estate tax, but he said, I am proposing that there would be a tax amnesty because this is a new administration so that there would be the business sector would try to cooperate and try to help out the government.
And normally, it's a normal thing that in other countries, when there's a tax reform, they offer a corresponding measure for tax amnesty because you are going into a new regime. So they want to eliminate
wipe out
your
all
passings.
the deficiencies or delinquencies that was incurred before.
Yes.
But usually, for local tax purposes, usually tax amnesty is not a good policy because it only encourages taxpayer not to pay on time. Usually, they will use the money for business and then just wait for an amnesty to be declared.
Well, if you do tax amnesty every so often, that would be the consequence.
It's bad.
But if it's just one time,
maybe every 5 years or 10 years.
And this one, it has a purpose, which is because we are going to a new regime.
Because our tax, the last time that the National Internal Revenue Code was implemented was 2 decades ago. So really there's a need. 1997 is already. So almost 2 decades already has passed and no amendments except for the additional exemptions. The main advocacy of ECOP and PCCI is to provide support for business growth and sustainable development. This will be achieved through a joint effort of the government and the private business sector. On our next episodes, Tax TV will tackle the monstrous daily traffic congestions in the National Capital Region. According to Waze, Manila, on a city level, has the worst traffic on earth. There is no doubt that the traffic and transportation in the National Capital Region is in a big mess. How do you solve traffic congestions such as Metro Manila? Can amending Republic Act 8794, increasing the motor vehicles users tax, be the solution? Join us again next week as we discuss taxation and traffic in the metropolis. Let us help build our nation. Give your share by paying your taxes correctly and promptly for a better tomorrow. Once again, I am Dr. Victor B. Endriga, and this is Tax TV, a taxpayer's guide to Philippine taxation. Thank you for watching.
For comments, questions, and suggestions on our topic today on corporate income tax, you may email us at taxtvph@gmail.com, and Dr. Victor Endriga will gladly answer your queries.